Where the Lucas, come in here, man. Where is Jason at?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from him. Have you?
He stormed out of here last week, and I haven't heard from him since. I've texted him. I've tweeted him. I drove by his house, and I blinked, and I got past it, so I had to drive back around to it again because it's so small. I don't know. He's a hot mess right now. So I don't know. Should we just wait for him, or should I just? I mean, I've never got it up. I've always done everything in the middle, and Can you do everything in the middle?
I can try to do everything in the middle. I've never had to do any of that.
Right. It's just strictly a baggage claim and like tickets and loading it up and stuff that you've done.
Yeah. I mean, do I get paid extra to do your job?
Yeah. I mean, we've got some money in petty cash. I don't know what Jason's salary is. He won't tell me. But if I tell you what, how about $5 more an hour if you do everything in the middle?
Sounds good to me.
So I'll get it up.
I'll do everything in the middle,
and I'll bring it back down because I don't know where he is. He's been dependable up until his little tirade he had and his little bender he's gone on. So I don't know. Are you buckled in?
I am buckled in.
Okay. Do you all these gadgets and levers and everything? Do you have any idea what they do?
No, but we figure it out.
Yeah, because he has a manual underneath his chair that he obviously never uses it, but I mean for like emergencies, like if he was to like pass out or something while we were flying, there is a manual, so I guess I can try to use this manual. Okay, all right, let's have a show without Jason. Oh my God,
she used to be an actress.
Oh really? Did she do anything out of scene?
I think her biggest deal was she starred in a pilot.
Pilot? What's a pilot?
Well, you know the shows on TV?
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Yeah.
Well, the way they pick TV shows is they make one show. That show's called a pilot. Then they show that one show to the people who pick shows, and on the strength of that one show, they decide if they want to make more shows. Some get chosen and become television programs. Some don't, become nothing. She starred in one of the ones that became nothing.
Ah yes, welcome to Couch Pilots, all of my friends. The show that dares to fly into the unknown territory of awful television pilots of the past. You can call me Polaris, and alongside me is Ursa Minor. It's Baggage Boy Lucas. Welcome to the show.
It's a pleasure to be back.
The crowd just said, "No, I'm done." This is kind of a big day for you. This is like it's kind of like a promotion, like a temporary promotion. How are you doing?
I'm a little nervous, not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie. Okay. For all the fans out there, listeners, like, oh, why isn't Jason doing his patented intro? You know, he's so witty and everything with his little snide comments about something chuckly, funny. I don't know where he is. He's butthurt about the fact that he got sloppy drunk and didn't get invited to the class reunion. And you said you have not seen him since last week?
I have not seen him since last week. Haven't seen him, haven't heard from him.
Because he usually gets a hold of you, because he has like and a lot of listeners don't know this, but he has like this little like man purse for every flight, and he gives it to you before he gets on board. It's like a satchel, but he gives it to you. He can't just carry it on him.
Yes.
Have you ever looked inside that?
I have not.
I wish I would. I thought you would have. That would have been good show content. So you haven't seen him. I don't know. I looked at his key card history, and he hasn't keyed into the captain's lounge all week. So, I apologize to you in advance. I might get a little testy. I might be a little nervous. But
And for people that don't know, it's weird for me not to hear from Jason. I mean, this guy has my birthday on his calendar.
Oh, wow.
We're super close. So to not hear from him for a whole week, that's a little alarming to me.
sure. Do you think he's dead? Should we worry that he's dead?
I'm hopeful that he is dead
Well,
because he was an asshole last week.
he was the biggest. Well, the last 2 weeks he's been an asshole, but last week he was an asshole. Just barging off the plane after we landed, like, I don't know. He acts like he runs the show. Like it wouldn't survive without him. Like he acts like he does all the work, and like everybody should praise his comedic genius.
Right.
He's not that funny, really.
He needed to be put back in his place, and hopefully the.
But he put himself back in. That's what I don't understand. He put himself back in his place.
Yeah, it's weird for him.
Is he Dom or is he Sissy? We you can't tell. Some days he's Dom, some days he's Sissy.
Yeah, we really don't know.
All right, Lucas, what is going on in your life? You've been an employee of Couch Pilots. You've been the baggage boy since Eli, the baggage boy, got fired because of watching pornography during work hours. How have you done? What do you think? How do you think you've done?
I feel like I've done all right.
Sure.
I did get locked in the closet there for a little while.
Yeah.
That was pretty awful.
It's understandable. The lock's on the opposite side, and so it makes complete sense.
But DSJ and I have gotten closer.
Oh, you guys are like buds now, right?
Yeah, we're buddies now.
Does he ever ask you to play checkers?
Yeah.
How is he at checkers? Because he's asked me, and I'm like, there's no way you can function through a whole game.
He confuses the rules, I think.
He jumps backwards even if it's not a king. Oh,
yeah.
geez.
Diagonals, all kinds of.
Right. But do you let him win just for spite?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing air quotes, I let him win.
Actually, only doing half of air quotes.
Yeah.
So it's open-ended. It's an
Yeah.
open-ended quote. Now, recently, we had the wellness mobile here at Couch Pilots, right? And so you got all your blood work and your blood pressure and stuff checked, right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, I got mine, so I thought we could just kind of compare and see like how healthy we are.
Oh, yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So I got my blood glucose done. Okay. And you were supposed to fast for 8 hours, and nobody told me that, so I had a biscuit this morning. And my blood glucose is 131. 100 or less is best. What was yours?
Mine was 101.
Oh, see, I mean, it's like a buffer, right?
Yeah,
give or take 5 points.
Yeah, give some error there.
So your blood you're not diabetic. Then.
I'm not diabetic.
So I shouldn't worry about you drinking that very large Mountain Dew.
Not at all.
Okay, all right. Oh yeah. Now you just woke up recently.
Yes.
Because you're in. Okay, all right. So you're good, and you have a huge Mountain Dew, so you're going to be alert, right?
I am going to be very alert.
Okay, so we had our cholesterol checked. That was another thing we did. My total cholesterol was 104. 200 or less is the best. 104 should be great, right?
Great, yeah.
What was your
Mine was a little high. Mine was 190.
190?
Yeah.
But you're still in it to win.
I'm still in the safe range.
Yeah, you're great. What's your meal of choice? What's your favorite meal?
Pizza, definitely.
Pizza. Here's my theory on pizza. All right? If you have a bad pizza, somebody purposely made it a bad pizza, right?
Yeah, I will tell you the worst pizza that I ever had was in Las Vegas. I don't know what they did there, but it was kind of like those Lunchable pizzas.
Okay.
Only this was at a restaurant.
Oh.
And the waitress was confused when we asked for hot sauce. And she was like, "We have some wing sauce. No hot sauce in this restaurant. Just cracker thin crust, hardly any cheese. Awful experience."
I'm sorry. Can't do it. I'm sorry to hear that. Your blood pressure. How was your blood pressure?
Blood pressure is high.
How high was it?
It was like Cheech and Chong levels high.
Oh, right. Very good. Mine was 122/74, which is supposedly great. It's supposed to be less than 140/90. So I was almost dead, I think. So I think we're good. I prayed for the death.
Don't we all?
So, I think now you can fill out your insurance forms because you went through the wellness mobile and you had flying colors. So we're going to go ahead and get that insurance information from you.
Perfect.
If we make it through this flight, because I really don't know if we're going to make it through the flight or not. And listeners, I'm sorry if you find this episode boring because Jason the man is not here, but you got to do what you got to do. You got to take a flight. It's Monday. You got to take a flight, right?
We can't let them down.
We cannot let them down, and that's what I want you to focus on through this whole episode is don't let the listeners down.
All right, sounds good.
Okay? You're buckled in. These gadgets, don't worry about these. That's kind of like not really necessary stuff. They actually they don't even work half the time. So let's go ahead and board this plane.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captains have turned on the fasten seatbelt sign.
All right. Well, today we are going to review the show Northstar from 1986. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Did you watch it?
I did watch it.
Oh, you did?
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
Because I got to flip through a manual. I have to look at all the gauges. I don't see how he does this at all.
If you listeners hear the rustling there, that is the manual in question.
I thought there was a tab for boarding, but I don't see a tab for boarding anywhere. I think I might have pissed that away. Yeah. So.
Jason must have got drunk and messed up your manual.
Yeah. So Northstar, 1986. Okay. It was a television pilot that failed. That's why we're watching it.
Yes. It was about NASA. I think a bird flew into the engine just now.
We got it started. We're in the air. That's all we can do. This was released in 1986. Okay?
Yes.
How old were you in 1986?
I was 2 years old.
You were 2 years old. Aw. I bet you were a cute little baby, Lucas.
I was an adorable child, and then...
What happened?
Yeah, right?
I'm not just...
No, that's what I was going to say, though. I was a super adorable child, and then I hit like 6 years old, and people were like, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy. Oh, I'm sorry. Today we discussed the pilot episode of Northstar from the year of our Lord, 1986. Great year. Great year. You were 2.
I was 2. How old were you?
I was 11.
So not a good year for the Roses.
No, well, I'm trying to think. Had I been molested by 11? I think I'd already been molested, so it was probably a bad year for the Roses. Is that the opposite of a good year?
Yeah.
Tire, that is. Okay, well,
Can't do it.
So we're going to we're gonna talk about a pilot today, but we can't look at this pilot in today's eyes, right? 2019. It's a lot different than 1986, right? So we have to go back to 1986 in our minds. And so we start by discussing some of the highlights of popular culture from the year 1986.
Well, what are some of the things we didn't have in 1986?
To be honest with you, I have a lot of stuff.
No Band-Aids.
No, we did not have Band-Aids. You're right. No chloroseptic spray, I don't think.
I don't know what that is.
When you have a sore throat,
Oh,
a chloroseptic
okay.
spray numbs it. It doesn't actually fix it. It doesn't actually solve it. It doesn't actually heal it. It just numbs it so you can't feel it.
Did we have Courtney Cox?
We might have had Courtney Cox, but I don't think we had Roberto Clemente. I don't.
No
think
Roberto
No,
Clemente.
I don't think so.
Courtney Cox, by the way, does that not sound like a porn name?
Oh, it's definitely a porn name. It's definitely a porn name. And you know what? You're doing a great job. Some of the things that happened in 1986. August 1st, Grateful Dead's Jerry Garcia is released from the hospital after a 3-week coma. Were you a big Deadhead?
I wasn't. A girl that I used to work with, she was big Grateful Dead fan, though.
They have teddy bears on their shirts. I don't understand that. And on their cars. And on their bags.
Yeah. I know my brother had a Grateful Dead tie-dye shirt, and he was a fan.
Do you know why he was in a coma?
No.
I have no idea either. Did we really lose a legend by him dying, do you think?
Not for me personally. No.
It's just jam band music, right? It's just they're just jamming out for like hours on end.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing for the people that like that kind of thing. That's the kind of thing they like, and it was good for them. I'm sure they lost a legend. But
You're very PC, and I appreciate that. On August 19th, 2 weeks after it was stolen, Picasso's painting "Weeping Woman" is found in a locker at the Spencer Street Station in Melbourne, Australia.
I love Australia.
I would love to go to Australia. I would want to see a koala bear. I can't see them anywhere in the United States. You can't see a koala bear.
Yeah, that would be cool. My brother and I used to be in a band together.
Was it called the Koala Bears?
No, that would have been a way better name than our name.
You could have T-shirts with a bunch of koala bears on it.
Yeah, that would have been way better than fucking Sadistic View.
Ooh, Sadistic View.
What
were your views?
We were like a 90s alternative sounding, and then some punk rock in there.
So because you play guitar.
I play guitar, and then I do vocals.
Do you play any bass?
I do, and then I play some really bad drums.
Which is easier, a guitar or bass? Because it looks like a bass player is just not even working at it.
Bass is actually more complex than people realize.
Okay.
But it's boring as hell. So I'd say guitar is easier because it's easier, not from a technical standpoint, but it's funner to get into. So
and the chicks dig the guitar player more than the bass player.
And drummers for some reason. Fucking drummers.
Fucking drummers.
But we had a fan base in Australia, and I still talk to one of those girls but we wanted to go down there and play.
You had fans in Australia?
We had fans all over the world. We did an interview with a Russian music magazine.
What?
We got invited to play a festival in Toronto, but it got canceled because the organizer was a heroin addict.
Oh, that's.
But yeah, we had fans all over the place. I promoted.
How did you promote it? Like on MySpace?
MySpace.
That was a good place for music. MySpace was that was a good place because do you remember on your profile you could pick like 5 songs?
Yeah.
So you had a lot of people posting your song on there.
And and since Jason's not here, I can say I worked third shift and there was a lot of downtime.
Sure.
So I could hop on MySpace and promote the band from there.
Nice. Why did the band break up? Was it because of a woman?
Because my brother had kids and a wife and shit, and he like had a career. He was a welder, and I was in my 20s, and I fucking wanted to play all the time.
Sure, and he didn't.
It was a hobby for him, and
right, and so he basically ruined your dreams.
Yeah. I still love him though. He might listen to this.
Really? Oh, well, we love you, brother.
So
but
yeah,
you ruined.
I love you, brother, Jason.
His name is Jason.
His name is Jason.
Are we talking about the same Jason?
It could be.
It might be. It could be.
It might be.
It is. Picasso. Do you give a fuck about Picasso at all?
I couldn't tell you one of his paintings. I'm into art.
I could tell you one. Weeping Woman.
I don't know what that is.
It's a woman who looks like she's crying.
I do art. I paint and draw. I don't care about art history. That was the most boring part of art classes. I don't know
like art history. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why anybody would want to steal a painting when you could just. What are you gonna? You can't sell it.
Right. I've never understood that about like all these famous paintings being stolen. You can't sell it because everybody knows it's missing. And if you are a shady guy like, and you're some rich mafia guy and you buy it, you can't put it up in your house.
Right. So what's even the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
It's just going to go in a vault somewhere.
And just so you can say you have it. That's ridiculous. Here on August 20th, in Edmond, Oklahoma, the United States Postal Service employee Patrick Shireel guns down 14 of his coworkers before committing suicide. And I think that's where the joke started about I'm going to go postal.
Oh, probably,
Right.
yeah.
I've talked about it before with Jason, your brother, and I was wondering what you thought. Mass shooters versus serial killers, which are more talented?
The serial killers, for
Thank
the
you.
exact points you made before about you have to spread everything out. It goes longer. You have to elude police. I mean, we still don't know who Zodiac Killer is.
Right. Yeah, we don't know who Jack the Ripper is even.
Right. And that's more impressive than knowing who. I'm not going to name any of
Sure.
the mass
Thank you.
shooters because I don't want to give them. But we know their names. We know who they are. And most of them are either dead or in prison.
Sure.
All of them are dead or in prison.
That's what really makes me mad is they shoot a bunch of people up and then they shoot themselves.
Right.
You're like, don't be a
Right.
pussy. If you're going to take all these other people out, you need to do the time, right?
The thing I always think about, like, if you're just going to kill yourself in the end, why take out all these innocent people that
Yeah.
have nothing to do with anything?
Exactly.
Just go kill yourself and get it over with. No one's going to miss you.
Go kill yourself. Lucas, I'm going to need your help on this. I usually do this, but I think you can do it. Why did we choose to watch Northgate?
There's 3 criteria.
Okay.
It had to be free.
Yes.
It had to be available on the internet, whether YouTube or, wherever else we watch these things at. And so I say free, it had to be on the internet, and it had to have only 1 episode, whether it aired or not is irrelevant.
Lucas, to me, I mean, this interview isn't even like half over yet, but to me, you got the job. I mean, he's so much better than him. Where can you find the entire episode of Northstar? By subscribing to Couch Pilots on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice, and then simply click on one of our classically blue links in our show notes and go to YouTube.
Blake,
Lucas? Oh,
put
yes.
a period in there.
Oh. Go to YouTube. Lucas?
And you know what to do, Tube.
Very good. You're doing great.
Flight attendants.
Let's hope the listeners feel the same.
Oh, they will. Looking at my phone, still nothing from Jason. It's beautiful out here, right?
It is beautiful out here.
DSJ got us up in the air. How's he doing? I mean, he's been very quiet lately. Is he doing all right?
He's doing all right. Has he said anything about DSJ Jr.?
No, I haven't heard much about DSJJR or Baby Mama. So I mean,
It's been a while.
It has been a while. For me, I think he has just kind of gotten quiet lately, and I don't know. I don't know if he's mad at us or whatever.
I think he's just really focused on, doing his work, and you know him. He's always got things going on.
Oh yeah, he's a baller.
He's the busiest guy in show business.
Now that we're up in the air, my phone still has bars, so I want to make a call here and see if we can get Jason. Let's see if we can. You know what? I'm going to call Jason real quick and see if he answers. He hasn't answered his phone for a long. Me love you long times. All right, let's see if we can get this on here. I still don't know where the volume comes out of this phone.
Ahoy, hoy.
Hello, this is Mr. Bud Smith of the Comdomino Resource Center. Do you have time to answer a few questions?
I'm sorry, who's this?
Bud Smith of the Comdomino Resource Center. I have a survey I would like you to participate in.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead. I got a few minutes.
Do you use condoms on a regular basis?
Is this anonymous?
Yes, it is.
I can't think of one time that I've ever used a condom in my life.
Oh, okay. Would you be willing to Give us your credit card information so you can get 35 free condoms and a gift card to Starbucks.
So this is all free, but you need my credit card information for what?
Simply for shipping and handling.
That does sound like a pretty good deal.
I have a couple more questions while you think about it, if you would like, sir.
Yeah, let me mull it. Go ahead.
Okay. When you're using condoms, do you prefer to have flavored or non-flavored condoms?
Well, since I don't really use them for their intended purposes, I guess my breath is a little rank. I prefer to pop a minty fresh condom in my mouth to freshen things up. Is that what you mean?
Yes, that's a very good answer, sir. Thank you very much.
We'll say mint then, yes.
And just so you know, your gift card to Starbucks will add $10 to that for every answer you do.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, go ahead
Okay. Do you use the condoms when you use vaginal sex and anal sex, or one or the other?
I actually abstinent, so I would say neither.
You know what they say, abstinence makes the heart grow fonder. Very good, sir. You've got You now have $20 on your Starbucks gift card.
Great.
Just a couple more questions, and then I will let you get back to your family.
I actually don't have a family, but go ahead.
I'm sorry, sir, that you don't have a family. But I hope that someday you will be able to get one, and hopefully you will have a hole in one of your condoms.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, third question. If you could describe your diet in 2 words, how would you describe your daily diet?
Funky fresh?
Very good, sir. You are now up to 30 Starbucks dollars. I have one more question, and then I will let you go, sir.
Sure.
Well, after I get your credit card information.
Okay.
Is your refrigerator running?
Let me check. Hold on.
Hello, sir? Are you still on the line? You have a $30 Starbucks gift card.
It seems to be working all right. Yeah, it's running.
It's running? You better go get it. Lucas, he had no idea it was me.
He had no idea at all, idiot.
And people think he's smarter than I. I don't agree. A summary of the pilot: an astronaut's ship passes through a strange magnetic field on its way back to Earth. And when he emerges from it after landing, he finds he has acquired superhuman powers and a super genius IQ. Lucas, what do you think of that summary?
D-.
Why is that?
Because that didn't explain what actually happened at all.
It's as though it was a different. They were describing a different show. None of that happened at all.
Correct.
Yes, I give it a D- as well. I think you're a very good grader. You're still doing a great job. Ooh, are you okay?
I'm all right.
Oh, jeez. Okay. You said you used to do vocals in a band, right?
Yes.
Well, we have a segment on the show. I don't know if you know or not. It's called Interesting Facts. Would you be willing to sing it when I start the music? You can't really say no. It's kind of like
I can't really say no.
Okay.
Fuck, I don't remember the words.
You know what? You give me your own rendition. You don't have to worry about the words.
All right.
All right, here we go.
Interesting facts. Interesting facts. Don't taint it for your friends.
Very good. Interesting Facts. This is a segment of the show where I have scoured the internet.
You have
hours
upon hours
to try to find information about this pilot that you may not know. Lucas, what's the main rule of Interesting Facts?
Do not comment on these facts.
Yes.
You are not allowed to say, yes, that's interesting. Mm-mm. No, that's not interesting. Don't taint it for the person sitting next to you.
Oh, God, Lucas. I love your repertoire.
Guys, As we say here on the plane, just don't do it.
Thank you, sir. Interesting facts on number one. This was a pilot for a television series on ABC Network that was not picked up.
Fact.
It's probably the most simple fact you could possibly find for this. If Northstar sounds vaguely familiar to you, and yet you never watched it, it might be because it was one of the 70s and 80s shows satirized by Jack Black and Ben Stiller in Heat, Vision, and Jack. Do you remember Heat, Vision, and Jack?
I do not.
Me and Jason reviewed that. It had Ben Stiller in it, Owen Wilson in it. I'm sorry, Owen Wilson, and then Jack Black, who is probably the most unfunny person in the world. But when I was watching this, I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit. Peekaboo. I thought about Heat, Vision, and Jack when I was watching this because I was like, this seems like the sun and extra, being able to like have powers and IQ. So go back and listen to Heat, Vision, and Jack, and you know what, Lucas? Check out that pilot.
I will go to couchpilots.com and find.
All you got to do is put Heat, Vision.
All you got to do is search, and they're all there.
Thank you. What's the website?
It's couchpilots.com.
Couchpilotspodcast.com.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Right. That other one is my porn site that I'm using right now. It stars Greg Evigan as Major Jack North.
He looks like a discount. Who's the guy? Tony Danza.
Sure, a little bit. You may know Greg as Joey from My Two Dads or BJ from BJ and the Bear. That was a show about a guy with a monkey. Do you remember BJ and the Bear?
No.
Do you remember My Two Dads? My Two Dads had Paul Reiser as the other dad, and they were two gay guys that had kidnapped a girl and were raising a girl in their basement. And they said, you have to call us Daddy.
And they were teaching her that homosexual is the only way to be.
Very much so. And they were very into BDSM.
Yes.
Also, by the way. That was an interesting fact that bet you didn't know. I have one more interesting fact. An older gentleman on this show you may recognize, and his name is Mason Adams, and he was in the movie Son-in-Law. He was on Family Ties, has been acting since 1947 up until 2003. He died in 2005. I think he was in some commercials as well. So I recognize him right off the bat. Do you remember the old guy? Did he look familiar to you? The scientist? The killer?
No, there was another one in there, though. I remember the old guy. I didn't recognize him.
I think he did commercials for, like, coffee or something.
But Evan Mitchell, I recognized him instantly. I have here in my notes, actually. He was the dad on Dharma and Greg.
Okay.
He played Mitchell Ryan.
Okay, yeah.
I recognized him instantly.
Dharma was hot, right?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was kind of. I liked that kind of like quirky, quirky girl. Yeah.
I would have boned her for sure. And finally, I have a butt for a face. That's what it says. I have a butt for a face. I thought that was supposed to. Let's do Twitter responses. Every time we do a show, I go on Twitter. And I reach out to some of the stars of the show or producers or writers, and I'm like, hey, this is Couch Pilots. We do a podcast. Give us some tidbits about, what was exciting about doing this. Do you know the Twitter responses song?
Twitter responses. Wonder if Blake's got some Twitter responses.
I don't have. Awesome. That was awesome. I don't have any Twitter responses regarding Northstar, Northstar. But I do have. We reached out recently. We did an episode on a show called Sawdust. And it was about a family that bought a circus. I think it was. They bought a circus Why would I doubt myself?
After 190 plus episodes,
192 run.
They kind of roll together.
Sure. This is season 20, episode 1. I forgot to mention that. We're in a brand new season. Lucas, did you ever think that we would make it 20 seasons?
I didn't think you were going to make it 2 seasons.
You know what? Neither did I. And you know what? To be honest with you, download-wise, season 20, that's where we're getting our momentum. Jason's out of the picture. A lot of the people that don't like his stuttering and just how he just can't finish a sentence or maybe like speak normal words, they're going to come back to the show.
They're going to come back. I'm going to...
Listeners, come back.
Can I break in real quick
Oh,
since we're talking about people being here and hosting? And Matt was on a few episodes,
Yes.
and he wanted some constructive criticism.
Oh, about his...
I enjoyed their episode. My only constructive criticism was the pace at times was a little quick. It made me think of Gilmore Girls when the mom and daughter
Are
start
talking?
going.
Yeah.
But their episode was really good.
Yeah.
That's the only. So Matt, I know he's listening.
Kevin does that. Kevin will. Matt is more of a laid back kind of flow guy, but Kevin is a really in your face kind of let's get this thing going. I got to go home to my wife.
And yeah, I attribute it to they were excited, which you want to hear.
Sure.
Want
to hear that excitement.
And I'm sure they were worried about going long.
But they weren't worried about going long because they didn't use the 10-minute rule.
So, but since they didn't,
and you know what? If I've ever heard people talk about Kevin and Matt, they have never talked about going too long.
Since they weren't using the 10-minute rule, though, maybe they didn't want too much banter.
Oh,
they wanted to leave enough time to actually review the episode.
You know what?
Do it.
They did good though.
Sure.
Props to those guys.
I mean, but honestly, how much banter do you need in a show? Not very much, right? It's like get down to brass taxes, right?
Aerosmith used to have a saying about their music: "Don't bore us, get to the chorus."
Ah, very good. Also, don't bore us. We're going to have sex with underage girls.
That's right.
But we did have Gary Markovsky. I don't know. He was the writer of the pilot Sawdust, and we reached out to him back on May 9th. And about 2 months later, he replied, "Sure, Sawdust is on YouTube, and there are many interesting aspects to its story." And then just sent us the link. And that was it. Why even respond? Right? Why even respond? We're working hard here.
Evan Mitchell, who I mentioned earlier, that 91 years old. Do you think he's on Twitter?
I don't know. He might be dead.
He is absolutely alive. I checked because when I saw him in the pilot that we watched, I checked to see if he was who I thought he was. And 91 years old and still kicking.
Great. Where do you see yourself in 90 years? When you're 91.
When I'm 91, let's see, I'm 35. I'm solid dead for almost 60 years.
Jesus Christ. You have good health care now. You don't have to worry about that. You're going to have great health care with us.
I meant by my own hand.
Oh. Well, but then you're what do we call that person that gets your money when you die?
Beneficiary?
Yeah. Your beneficiary won't get any money if you do that.
She'll be dead too. That's my mom.
Oh,
she'll be dead
by her own hand as well.
Yeah.
How do you think your mom would kill herself?
Boy, it would have to be something really crafty because she's into crafts. She's into like sewing and
so like maybe like it could be like
she would
a glue gun possibly
or
burns from a glue gun.
She would like put together some kind of like yarn to make her noose, but she would have some technique to make it really tight yarn so it would hold.
Like a dream catcher, but like a nightmare catcher.
Yeah.
Oh. I love those things. You know, the little the feathers and the little satanic symbols in them. I love those. Okay, so let's get down to it. We're going to talk about Northstar. It's actually not called that. It's called Northgate, right?
Northstar.
Yep, that's what I said. It's called Northstar. And one of the rules we have is we have a 10-minute time limit.
Which I love.
And I wish to God right now I knew how to use my phone, but we're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. I can only do 12. So, all right. This is an hour and 71 minutes or so.
Yeah.
So there is a lot to talk about. Lucas, why don't you start us off now?
All right. So first of all, the intro is really, really long.
Yeah, it has I called it heat imagery. There was like suns and eclipses, and there was like a scanning of the brain, and you saw the hot spots. And then you're right, they did the cast credits, and it seemed like it was 10 minutes long.
It was, yeah, and it's just repetitive music. So once that nonsense is over with, we come on. I believe there's a spaceship.
Yeah, it was a space shuttle, like a NASA space shuttle.
Yeah, and it's just kind of floating there in the air. Do we see the astronaut outside it or no?
Yeah, and he's in like an astronaut chair, and right off the bat, I'm like, that's a plastic mold. It's not even real.
Yeah, I thought so. Even the space shuttle looked like
A model.
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a guy out there, and we find that's Mr. Major North, right? And
Yeah.
he's a spaceman. His buddies are in the spacecraft, and what they're up there for is because they're going to film this lunar eclipse.
Yes.
No, not a lunar.
No, solar eclipse.
Sorry. You know what? You're doing a total eclipse of my heart. You're doing great. So he's out there floating in a recliner, and the eclipse is about to happen. He picks up a cardboard camera, and he points it right at the sun for the eclipse. When you were a child, when did you first learn you're not supposed to look directly at the sun?
Probably kindergarten.
Right. So this is a grown-ass man, a spaceman, a space astronaut. That's how they say it in Australia, astronaut. And he picks up this camera, holds it. The eclipse happens. A laser, like a heat beam, comes into the camera, then goes into his eye. Boom.
And he's blind.
Blind forever. He's not dead. They think he's dead. We get all of a sudden he's back down to earth. He's had bandages on his eyes. They take off the bandages. We come to find out, through a lot of bullshit, he has now some powers. Right?
Yes.
If
Yes.
in the sunlight, when he's in the sun, it triggers his brain. He has a tremendous IQ and all this strength.
And I thought one of the first thing, it's like he's walking outside the first time the sun hits his eyes. He spazzes out and he runs over to this keypad and he starts quickly entering in the number.
Sure. But he doesn't know him.
He doesn't know
Even
him.
he doesn't know him. So he's just going through all the possible scenarios.
All the thousands of combinations. And at this point, before we hadn't gotten to the part where we now know he has powers, we have no idea.
Sure, we don't know it. I kind of jumped the gun. Maybe I was a little excited.
One of the astronauts, the guy with the mustache, did you think Geraldo Rivera when you saw him?
I thought, like a skinny, younger Geraldo Rivera. I also thought maybe it was my uncle, but it wasn't. I looked it up. It was not my uncle. So he freaks out. He gets back in there, and then all of a sudden, the old guy that we talked about earlier, Mason Reese.
Yes,
it's Mason Adams. I was just trying to make a joke, but he's in there with this redheaded scientist, and she's come to study Major North and find out what's going on with him. 80s, mid 80s. Obviously, she has a perm, right?
Yeah.
Redheaded with a perm? I don't think so.
No.
And so Major North's like, hey, this is cool, whatever. Hey, there's a sexy scientist wanting to help me out and everything. So she basically does all these tests and finds out that if he goes into the sun, click, boom, he's super, super smart. But if he's out there too long, it starts to fuck him up.
Yeah, he has 3 levels. His eyes will change colors when he is looking at the sun. He has, what you say, blue, he's fine. Yellow, he's starting to get a little close to being bad. Once they turn red, that's it. He could die.
Right. And right off the bat, Major North is got a mega milk boner for the scientist, hitting on her, and she's just all about science, right? He's like, hey, stop looking at me like just some test tube monkey. And he's like, talk to me. Let's fuck.
Yeah, he's like, what's your problem? He's mad at her for doing her job.
This is what I said. I said, North flirts with the scientist, kind of aggressive, then manipulative, finds out she's married, and then he's pissed off.
I have in my notes that he's a huge creep.
High five that shit. He was seriously a dick.
Yeah.
He was very Louis C.K., right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's not likable at all.
No, not for sure not. But he's handsome, though. He is handsome.
He's a good-looking guy.
Good-looking guy.
And he's an astronaut. I mean, come on. I mean, this guy, he's good-looking. He's an astronaut.
Astronauts get all the poon, for sure.
So,
have you ever met an astronaut that didn't get a lot of poon?
Not at all. So, pilots, too.
You know what? You're right. It's a lot. It's very stressful being a pilot. There's a lot of gadgets, a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities. But when you land and you get all three of those tires on the ground, poon to the left of you, poon to the right of you.
Oh, and think about that Sully guy, right? I mean, he
Sully
saved all the...
Sorgenberger.
He had been swimming in it after he was done swimming in the...
And at his age, nobody else is going to swim in pussy like that except a pilot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, they're outside. He got special glasses now. She made him special glasses. They're outside. He sees these carjackers or these burglars ride up on a motorcycle and break into this right next to the fence of NASA. They break into this car and take about 45 minutes going through stuff. He gets all pumped up. He rips the fence and goes after him.
Yeah, they're driving away. He's chasing them down on foot.
But he can go as fast as like a train. I mean, he's like, he's staying up with him. She freaks out and she has the MP police, the military police, chase after him. He pushes the guys off the motorcycle.
They wreck. They come around the corner and they wreck. They go through the...
Never come around the corner.
Weak-ass barricades.
Well, it was a state park. What do you expect? I mean, there's a budget. And he's been on this, in the sunlight, and his face is all gross.
And he's like...
And his eyes are all nasty and melty looking.
Choking.
He's gasping. And I looked on IMDb. I usually don't, but for this, I had to be prepared. I looked on IMDb, and the picture they have for this show is a picture of him running with the funky eyes and the gross face. I was like, what the fuck?
That is kind of a misrepresentation of the show, I would think.
Yeah. So he gets back. They get him back to the thing, and they're like, hey, you can't go out without your glasses on. You can't do this because this is what will happen. And there was like a but a Michael Myers kind of rendition of him, like model.
Yeah.
It was like half of a face and half a skull and a brain. And it basically just is horrible. But it's like, if you stay out here, this is what's going to happen. His brain swells up, and it's very long and drawn out. And then the dummy catches on fire. It was very, very creepy.
And it's the only time he actually shows any kind of like
concern,
yeah.
For sure. And then, hey, jogging him down the lane, booby bump fellas, a jogger with big breasts is jogging on the trail. Thank you. And it really seemed to me to be the same trail, the exact same spot where the motorcycle guys
I
fell
thought
over.
so too. I thought so too.
So she's doing her jogging, breasts are bumping, and
there's a dead body.
yeah, there's a Walkman playing, which I don't know how she could possibly looks down,
that.
And it's the guy that looks like Geraldo Rivera.
Yeah.
He's dead. All right. Lots more happens. We have 1 minute. We're never going to make it. Let me speed through this.
Speed through it.
The guy dies. North is buddies with the guy's wife. She says he was murdered. He investigates, finds out who it is, and at the end, it is who?
It is the old man scientist. Was behind all of it over wanting some patent. He wanted to make money off some patent. And that was it.
Yeah, they won an Oscar or like a MTV
Nobel
award
Prize.
Oh, that's what it was. And so yeah, he kills him because he wants all the money. And I didn't quite understand it, but he was getting offers for $50 million, and it was some kind of like thing that made you not age as much, but then your grandkids like aged like 3 times as fast.
I don't know. It was some.
It causes his grandkids to become deformed. So like you take this stuff, you don't age very. Oh, that's it. We are. And Lucas, you know the rules. We cannot go any further on this.
Please remain seated as we are now crossing a zone of turbulence.
Turbulence is what I like to call this.
There's a whole hell of a lot.
There's a lot of turbulence. All right, Lucas, why do you don't think this show didn't work?
First of all, it's 1986. This is a NASA show. 1986 in January, the Challenger exploded.
Ooh, you know what? Interesting fact. I didn't even think about that.
So
when I was doing my research.
I don't think you can have a NASA show in 1986 without people feeling a certain kind of way.
Sure. Do you remember where you were when that happened? No, because you were 2.
I was probably getting kicked down a flight of stairs or something.
Oh, what you? God,
I don't know.
Good God.
Let's see. I was 2 years old. I was probably at home. No, actually, I was probably at my grandma's. She babysat me when I was little.
And she's the one that kicked you down the stairs?
Oh, no, my grandma was a saint. It would have been my dad that would have kicked me down the stairs. So, the acting was really bad. I thought so. The lead character is not likable.
He is kind of a dick.
He's not even kind of. He's just flat out dick.
He's very cocky, very arrogant, very just sexual predator in some ways.
And we didn't get to this in the 10 minutes, but he broke into the home of the woman.
Yeah, the scientist, the sexy scientist.
And he destroyed her equipment, hooking up a camcorder to a computer.
National television just for one guy.
Yeah, this guy, he's just total douchebag.
What would you do to improve this show, Lucas?
I have a different lead. I would have changed. The guy was fine. The actor himself was fine. I would have changed his personality somewhat.
Maybe more grateful. Maybe more.
Yeah, you know, more humble.
Sure.
Something else we didn't get to was as I was watching, I was like, okay, so how are they going to make this into a series when we've already figured out, who was behind this murder?
Sure.
They do explain in the end that they're going to assign special cases to him.
Northstar. That was going to be the name of the secret mission.
Yeah, and then they would see if he could solve them.
And of course he would, because he's... You know what? I even gave us some extra minutes. Sorry about that. I've never used that before. I apologize, Lucas.
So that's quite all right. So yeah, it had to be shorter. Obviously, if this is going on TV, they're gonna cut it down. I wouldn't want to see this go over. I don't know. 45 minutes.
Yeah.
They have got to find a way to make these scenes shorter.
Right, because with the commercial, because there were commercial breaks. There were title screens for commercial breaks. And so this would have been like an hour and a half with commercials.
Yeah.
And
it was broken up into 3 scenes. And I would imagine as a TV show, they would have used some things as cliffhangers. But they didn't. Yeah, but in terms of this is what they presented, this is what we can do. Even for 1986, like I said, that barricade broke. The barricade breaks when the guys fall through it.
Sure.
At one point, the old man is using a fire extinguisher to hit stuff.
To knock out electrical boards, he's using a fire extinguisher, and he's already 80-some years old.
And they're the weakest hits. They're not going to do anything.
Sure.
So there's a lot of changes they could make. Most of it would have to do with different actors changing that title character.
All right. Well, I'm going to give you a couple of my notes.
All right.
And thank you very much for your complete honesty. I think I've grown to really get into these cheesy 80s special effects. Like, before I started doing Couch Pilots, I would have said, oh, this is kind of shit graphic, special effects and stuff. But I'm kind of getting into them. Like the like the astronaut chair. Like the funny thing is like the astronaut in the chair, it's all white, but then when they do a close up on him, he's got like a red stripe on his thing and like colored parts of his thing, like the glowing eyes and stuff, and really bad lasers. I didn't think the acting was horrible for 1986 because I went back there in my mind.
Yes.
I didn't think the pace was very slow. What did you think of the pace? Did you think it kind of was draggy?
Yeah.
Really?
Definitely. I don't know if that's just because they wanted to draw it out more to say this is what we can do.
Sure.
There were a lot of jumps like when we come upon the Walkman, it jumped from somewhere that made no sense.
Right. It was yeah. Well, let's take a final descent and see where this land. Are we going to be able to land this bad boy?
We'll do our best.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position.
Whenever we have a pilot that we do, I like to go like on Rotten Tomatoes and see if there's a score. IMDb, I love IMDb. You know what IMDb stands for?
International Monster
Dong
Dick Boys.
Boys. Yeah, that's exactly right. Do you have any idea what the IMDb score was for this program?
It was 5-something.
5-something? I'd say 5.1. From 147 reviews, which to me are ratings. That's pretty good.
Awesome! Yeah. That's more people than I realized would have watched this thing.
That's true. Critic reviews, I couldn't find any. I mean, I looked for like hours. I could not find any critic reviews. But I do have a viewer review. Would you like me to read it?
Yeah, let's hear it.
This is going to wet your whistle. A film or TV programming that I saw on the telly when I was really young, early 80s. It wasn't dissimilar to the $6 Million Man, and the only thing I can remember are that involved an astronaut who went up to space and was blinded by the sun, which ends up giving him weird powers whereby he could run fast as a train, and I seem to remember he jumped up onto a massive fence. I'm sure his eyes kind of glowed when his powers were being used, and using his powers was really bad for him. It scared the crap out of me anyway. Okay, well, this guy was high or doesn't remember very much of it. But did you find it scary? Like if you would have been a kid, maybe like, I don't know, 10 years old watching this, would you have been scared?
Oh, only at the parts where we talked about the creepy face,
Yeah, it was kind of gross.
But yeah, overall no.
Yeah, overall no for sure.
I would have been bored out of my mind.
Let's land this bitch and give our ratings. You're doing great, by the way.
Thank you.
To FCF Airport. Local time is 11.
I'm probably doing pretty good too.
You were doing awesome.
Oh, thanks.
For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captains turn off the fasten seatbelt sign.
All right, well, this is where we're going to give our ratings. Our ratings scale is a 1 through 7, 7 being the worst, 7 being the best, 1 being the worst. And we take characters from the TV show Wings. Do you remember Wings?
I remember it. I never watched it much, but
all right. Well, I know you've listened to the show a lot over the years. Can you give us all the characters' names and the score?
No, but can you?
Goddamn right I can. 1 is the worst. That's a Roy Biggins. Number 2 is a Faye Cochran, right? And she was the sweet little motherly lady. Number 3 is an Antonio Scarpacci. He was the taxi cab driver who just was eating lunch all the time. Number 4, Joe Hackett, highly respectable. He was the nice, neat guy, right? This was the one, Joe Hackett was the one that Jason wanted to put as a 7. And I said, no. Number 5 is a Lowell Mathers. Okay, he was the mechanic. That was the old 5. Lowell Mathers was the old 5. Our new 5 is Bud Bronsky, who jumped in as the mechanic over Lowell Mathers. Right?
Is that Brian Haley?
That is Brian Haley.
Friend
Good.
of the show.
Friend of the show. Great job. Number 6 is Helen Chappell. Who wouldn't, that little petite little blonde, who wouldn't tag that shit, right? She had the sandwich counter. And number 7, the best there is, the best there was, and ever will be, Brian Hackett.
You don't know what hard times are, Daddy.
Lucas, I look at you, and I'm thankful that you were available to hold up Jason's part of the show. I look to you for your rating, 1 through 7. How do you rate Northstar?
First of all, one of the things I want to mention is this kind of reminded me of a sci-fi version of Flowers for Algernon.
Okay, I never heard of that.
I don't know if you're familiar with the story. Flowers for Algernon, they take this mentally deficient guy. They do some kind of testing on him, and it makes him incredibly smart. But what they find is that it's going to rapidly kill him. Same kind of thing here. This guy has some kind of, he gets the sci-fi, so he has these superpowers, but if he doesn't control them, he's going to die.
Right.
I have in my notes that this is long, stupid, and boring. I thought it went on too long. I'm not a huge sci-fi person.
Sure, me neither. Nerds.
I was originally going to rate this lower, but I kind of want to look at it more objectively. I think this is different than stuff that was going on TV at the time. I think with some tweaks, they could have made this work. I was originally going to go 2 just because I had no interest in it. I think I'm going to give them a 3.
3, okay. 3, that's a good score. I myself, there's a booby bump, right? The breasts were perky. They were bouncing because she was running. I was going to give it a 5. With the booby bump, I'm giving it a 6. I enjoyed this. I was entertained. I just think my brain is completely fried from seeing a bunch of shit for so long. I was entertained. I enjoyed it. Does it seem like every time a TV show has a doctor and a patient, they end up wanting to fuck?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I thought of Days of Thunder, the movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, seriously.
It's the same kind of, he gets pissed at her. He's like, and she's like, I gave you a very
And she was redheaded too.
Yes. And then it's like, but she's trying to be professional. And they end up together.
Remember when he has a sugar packet and like 2 or 3 sugar packets, and he's using her naked thigh to explain drafting to her?
Yeah.
That was the sexiest thing when I was that little.
When I was little, my mom would make me cover my eyes on that part.
Oh, really?
I'd be like, what am I missing? And then I got a little older, and she's like, whatever, they're not showing anything. But I was like, there's nothing there. But no, yeah, that was...
It was sexy.
It was sexy.
It was, for sure. So you give it a 3. I give it a 6. And with that, we close the book on Northstar, and we will never talk about it again. Ever. But join us next time, won't you please, when we watch the pilot episode of Locust Valley. Could be. Locust Valley.
Here's a little something to wet your whistle.
When 15-year-old Claire moves from New York City to the mysterious suburb town of Locust Valley to live with her dad, she is immediately faced with the town's oddities as well as a host of new and complicated relationships. You can find the entire episode of Locust Valley by subscribing to Couch Pilots in SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app of choice when you simply click on one of our classic links in our show notes. Or, Lucas,
go to YouTube, and you know what to do, tube.
Contact him. Whoa.
Hey, Blake, you won't believe this phone call I got. Hey, Lucas, thanks for keeping my seat warm. You guys doing some tests in here? Getting the vocals ready? It's a good idea.
Well, we've actually just landed. We did the show. You didn't show up. It's already 9:30.
You did what?
We did the show already.
Did I miss another contest win thing?
No, this is Lucas stepped up because you were nowhere to be found. You let me down.
Okay.
So phone call. You had a phone call from somebody important on somebody on fire, somebody dead. What?
I had a funny phone call. I was going to tell you about it. Obviously, it doesn't mean shit to you because you go ahead and start without me, so that's fine.
You were 3 hours late.
You know what, pal? I'll do my own show, and there'll be hookers and blackjack, and you know what? Forget the show and the blackjack, okay? Have a great night, guys. Have a lot of fun. Good job.
Ah! Jesus. I'm sorry, Lucas. I'm sorry you were so rudely interrupted by that.
Yeah, I didn't want to be in the middle of that.
You can contact us many ways on the show. You can go to couchpilotspodcast.com, which is where you said earlier to go to. You can get all of our episodes there. What do you know the email address? Couchpilotspodcast.com. Oh, couchpilotspodcast@gmail.com. This is harder than you think it is. It really is. You can follow us on Twitter at CouchPilotsPod, Instagram, CouchPilotsPod. Lucas, do you know the dial-in number? You called it before.
It's 910 Pilots 1.
That's exactly right. Do you know what that is? A number?
Not off the top of
It's
my head.
910-745-6871, baby!
And as Jason would say, you can hear your dumb voice on this show.
Yeah, do you think you should say that? As a listener, does it deter you from calling in saying...
As a listener, I think it's hilarious.
Good.
I call people dumb stuff all the time, and then now whenever I do that, I think of Jason, which is, after that episode, is a little disheartening. But
yeah, I mean, he came in with he came in hot. He came in with an attitude.
Yeah,
and he thinks he's going to do a show without me. It's going to be better.
Yeah, let's see how that grows.
Gross. We have Patreon, patreon.com/couchpilots. Go ahead and check it out. Donate.
Yeah, donate, help out the show. This thing isn't free to run.
No. Lucas, thank you very much for stepping up. You went from baggage boy to co-pilot and seamlessly. Seriously.
Do you have any positive message in the show?
I was going to ask you, do you have any positive messages for the show?
I got a positive STD test. So
Really?
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. Hey, you're winning at something.
Yeah, the doctor called me and he was like, "Hey, guess what? You're positive." I was like, "Oh, thank you. I needed to hear that today."
You're like, I am having a good day. Yeah. I try to be positive for everybody and
that's right.
Spread my seed. It's tainted.
You know, I would just say if you don't show up for work, don't come in and act like a dick.
Very good.
You know, try to be understanding of
Lucas, think
professionalism.
About this. What if I don't come in next week? Do you think you can do everything in the middle?
I don't think so.
Lucas, don't say anything to him. If you see him this week, don't say anything to him. But you know what? Next week, I'm not fucking coming in. And let's see if he can ride this fucking train by himself.
See how it goes.
Fucking train. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it. It's always good to see you. I'm glad you helped me out and saved me.
I'm always happy to be here.
Thank you. And with that, this pilot may have been rough, but it's always a smooth flight here on Couch Pilots. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time. Probably.